Hej, gramy dalej w The Excavation of Hob z Barrow. Szukamy Leonarda Shouldera, no ale na razie ani widu, ani słychu.
Good morning, Miss Bateman.
Good day, Stanley.
Did you sleep well, Miss Bateman?
Powiemy mu o kocie.
Not really. I have the rather queer recollection of a cat entering my room last night.
A cat, you say?
Yes, an odd-looking grey one. I must have been dreaming, as I locked the door and windows before I went to sleep. I saw a similar cat in the lavatories while searching for Mr. Tillett.
Ah, Herbert. Oh, he's a harmless thing. He comes in now and then searching for scraps.
Indeed. Seeing him in the lavatories must have conjured up the strange dream.
The mind is capable of manifesting frightful things, Miss Bateman. I'm happy to report the rain of yesterday has lifted. It's a clear morning outside. Crisp. I've prepared a room for your assistant. What time will he be arriving today?
His train will get in around midday. Kenneth will also be bringing my excavation equipment.
Oh, aye. What does that entail?
Picks, shovels, buckets, lighting and such. He usually packs it in a large crate. Come to think of it, I'll need somewhere to store it.
You're welcome to use the alley behind the inn for any such bulky items.
No właśnie, nie wiem, czy to bezpieczne, biorąc pod uwagę, co się tam ostatnio wydarzyło.
Is it safe to do such a thing?
I can assure you the local folk are not thieves, Miss Bateman.
That's not what I...
Now, say nothing more of it.
Thank you, Stanley.
I'll let you get on with your day.
I'll be back with my assistant when he arrives.
Chyba go uraziliśmy.
Miss Bateman?
Yes?
I've something I wish to get off my chest, as it were. I've been tossing and turning all night, Miss Bateman. I feel rotten, I really do.
What on earth are you talking about?
As you know, I like to run an honest establishment. And well, I have not been honest with you, lass. I do know of Hobbs Barrow.
You do?
I do. Many here do. There are stories tied to that place, you know. If I've learned anything in this life, it's that some stones are best left unturned. Old Leonard Shoulder is someone to be wary of too. I can't tell you what to do, lass, but you'd best avoid him.
Na razie to on unika nas, a przynajmniej wiemy, że to miejsce istnieje naprawdę.
Why lie to me about Hobbs Barrow?
I know, lass, I know. I feel dreadful.
But why? What are these stories you speak of?
I really can't tell you more. If you insist on visiting that place, you'll have to seek out Mr. Shoulder. He brought you here. He should be the one to tell you.
I must say, Mr. Kemp, this is all quite puzzling. I've never let local superstitions stop me in the past. I pride myself on being a woman of logic and reason. I've no time to waste on such matters.
As I say, seek out Mr. Shoulder. He can tell you more.
Why must I be wary of Mr. Shoulder?
The man has a certain reputation.
For what?
You've seen it already. Were he here to meet you last night?
No.
Precisely. A man not to be trusted.
Tyle, że on może nas zniechęcać do kontaktu z Shoulderem, bo właśnie boi się, że przeprowadzimy te wykopaliska. Być może oni rzeczywiście boją się tego kurhanu.
Where is Hobbs Barrow?
I don't know. I say that on my mother's grave, Miss Bateman.
I now find that hard to believe.
The moors are vast, lass. I'd tend not to go wandering out there. A grown man could lose himself and not be seen again.
Where does Mr. Shoulder live?
I can't say for sure. As I think I told you last night, he's a quiet man and keeps to himself. He only comes in here to collect his post. Leads me to believe he lives a fair distance away. Certainly not in the village itself.
Might someone around Bewley be able to help me find him?
You could ask around. As I say, lass, Bewley folk mean well. Don't forget that.
I shall return later.
Good day to you, lass.
Na razie nie było tego widać. Swoją drogą ciekaw jestem, jak teraz będzie wyglądać wioska, kiedy nie pada deszcz.
It seems I may be fighting a battle against some sort of local superstition. Is there a single barrow in England that doesn't have some ghastly tale attached to it? Hogwash. All of it. I've a few hours until Kenneth arrives. I should use this time to find Mr. Shoulder.
Myślę, że legendy są też czymś, co podkręca popularność tego rodzaju miejsc, bo zawsze jakaś legenda wzmaga ludzką ciekawość. Ludzie zastanawiają się, jak jakieś miejsce powstało, jaka jest jego historia. No i to jest czymś naturalnym, że są legendy. Generalnie myślę, że one wzbogacają miejsca różnego rodzaju. No przecież niektóre atrakcje turystyczne bazują na legendach. No i generalnie interesują mnie tego typu rzeczy. Na przykład bestiariusz, który mam na swojej półce chyba 2 tomy. No to wszystko bazuje na jakichś legendach, na jakichś opowieściach, które no oczywiście z prawdą nie mają nic bądź bardzo mało wspólnego zawsze.
He looks like a rather shady character. Hello. My name is Thomasina, and you are...
Now then, that's none of your concern, love.
What do you do around here?
Hey up, you're not scared of sticking your neb in. I look after the churchyard. Dig the graves. Ha!
What can you tell me about the church?
Aye, it's a church.
Quite.
No to dużo nam powiedział.
Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
I don't know out about no Leonard Shoulder.
What can you tell me about Hobbs Barrow?
Not to be found digging around in those things.
You know of local barrows, then?
Don't concern yourself.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
Not much around here, love. Not worth mentioning to you, like.
I see. Goodbye.
Ta-ra.
Niezbyt rozmowny jegomość.
The little whelp looks determined to slaughter the very air itself.
Szczeniak. No, bohaterka nie wyraża się o miejscowych zbyt pochlebnie, nawet jeśli są to dzieci czy zwierzęta.
Hello.
Yes?
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Douglas?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Douglas. That's a great sword technique you have.
Thanks, miss. Mr. Crozier's gonna make me a real one when I turn 12. I'm preparing myself to fight the lantern worm.
Żmij Lamptona, co to takiego?
What is the lantern worm?
It's gonna come back and get us all. John Lantern thought he killed it at the River Ware, but my father told me it still lives. We must all be prepared.
The lantern worm isn't real, Douglas. Father just told you that to get you out of his hair.
Not true. I saw it slithering out by the beck. Like a giant eel it were. I ran home so fast I thought I would fly.
Sorry, miss. My brother has a vivid imagination.
Children often do at his age.
I'll keep training. You will all thank me when I thrust my sword deep into its fat belly.
Douglas, this lady doesn't want to hear your nonsense.
Nawet już u dziecka, nie wiem iloletniego, pewnie 10 albo 8, albo 6, słychać akcent.
Do you like living in Bewley?
Yeah, I do. Are you from the city?
I'm from a long way away.
You must have come on the train. I love watching all the steam puff up into the sky.
Have you been on the train yourself?
No, miss. Our parents don't have the money for train tickets. Father says we have all we need here in Bewley.
Perhaps this nice lady would like to take you away with her on the train.
No, I need to stay and protect Bewley from the lantern worm.
Muszę powiedzieć, bo tak wsłuchuję się w tę muzykę, którą słychać w tle, że na razie ścieżka dźwiękowa jest bardzo minimalistyczna. Ale oczywiście najważniejsze w soundtrackach gier tego typu jest to, żeby ona dobrze dopasowana była do klimatu, do tego, co się dzieje. No i tutaj tak jest, mimo że tutaj są w zasadzie jakieś 2 nuty naprzemiennie następujące po sobie. I jakieś tam jeszcze muzyczne tło, bardzo delikatne. Można by powiedzieć, że ta muzyka jest prymitywna wręcz, ale swoją robotę wykonuje dobrze.
Do you know a man called Leonard Shoulder?
That's a funny name.
Have you heard of Hobb's Barrow?
What's that?
A local burial mound.
Our parents don't let us wander far from the village.
What's a burial mound?
Don't you mind about that, Douglas.
Who's Mr. Crozier?
He's a blacksmith. His forge is just over there on the other side of the square.
Don't you think 12 years of age is a little young for a real sword?
I'll be a master swordsman by then.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, miss.
Wreszcie jakaś osoba w tej wiosce, która wykazuje prawdziwy entuzjazm, no ale dzieci są z tego znane.
The young woman looks extremely bored by it all. Good day.
Hello, miss.
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Betty.
Nice to meet you, Betty. What are you up to?
My brother is practicing his sword fighting technique. I'm to watch him until he tires himself out.
I'm tireless.
This time last month it were all about his teaspoon collection. This month it's swords.
Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What do you know of Hobb's Barrow?
Our parents don't like us talking to strangers, miss.
So you know of it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye, miss.
Też nie była zbyt rozmowna. Jest i kowal.
The blacksmith is toiling away. Good day.
Yes?
Mr. Crozier, I presume.
Aye, George Crozier, at your service.
My name is Thomasina.
Aye, can I help you?
Are you a Bewley native, Mr. Crozier?
Aye, born and bred. That's where my father's forge before mine.
How is business faring?
I do an honest trade. There'll always be horses needing shoes and farmers needing tools. You let me know if you need out made or mended. I'll do you a fair price.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier.
No, wreszcie ktoś, kto nie okazuje nam otwarcie wrogości czy niechęci.
Do you know a man by the name of Leonard Shoulder?
Oh, aye, old Leonard.
Have you seen him recently?
No, not recently.
Do you know where he lives?
Why all these questions, lass?
I need to speak with him. He invited me to Bewley.
Oh, he'll turn up. I've seen him in the plough and furrow from time to time.
But do you know where he lives? I need to find him.
I believe he lives somewhere out on the moors. Can't tell you out more than that.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. Do you know of a local landmark named Hobb's Barrow?
There's a fair many barrows found out on the moors, lass. Too many to put a name to. Not a soul in Bewley pays them any mind.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
We don't get many visitors here, outside of market days. But there's plenty of work for the village blacksmith. Where are you from, then?
I arrived yesterday on the train from London, by way of Derby.
Oh, aye. I've heard about London.
What have you heard?
Plenty of factories there.
Yes, indeed. The city is always changing and moving forward.
Too busy for me, though, lass. I prefer a quieter pace. Aye.
No, często mieszkańcy wsi, może teraz już nie tak często, bo i na wsi obecnie, na wielu wsiach, każdy kolejny dzień niewiele się różni od dnia mieszkańców miast, tak na dobrą sprawę. Te same sprawy, ale kiedyś było inaczej. Ja sam pamiętam z dzieciństwa te ulice, które zawsze były pełne, może nie pełne ludzi, ale zawsze ktoś wychodził, ludzie się ze sobą integrowali. Teraz już tam nie jeżdżę, ale już parę lat temu praktycznie nikogo nie można było spotkać. Więc no, ta wieś przez 20 lat zmieniła się bardzo.
When do market days run in Bewley?
Once or twice a month. The next one is tomorrow.
How delightful.
Unless your vice is cabbages, there'll be naught to interest a young lady.
I don't mind a cabbage.
Then you're in luck.
Thanks for your time.
Aye. Speak to you later.
Zresztą można powiedzieć, że wychowywałem się na wsi, bo mniej więcej do 7 roku życia mieszkałem na wsi.
A fantastic specimen. Alas, it is not mine to take.
Ciekawe, czy możemy go o to zapytać.
Good day.
Yes?
I noticed your spectacular fossil specimen.
Oh, I collect them. This one is called
Ammonite.
I'm impressed, lass.
From the Jurassic period, I'd venture.
Do you collect them too, then?
My true interests lie in comparatively modern history.
Oh, well, I do love a fossil. It's important to remember that we all end up in the soil eventually.
Quite. Thanks for your time.
Aye. Speak to you later.
No niestety, życie każdego przemija i każdego się kończy.
The woman has a kind face. A fine assortment of baked goods. A lovely treat for those who enjoy such things. The trusty trowel, the barrow digger's best friend.
Aha, to zabierzemy.
Excuse me, do you think anyone would mind if I borrowed this trowel?
You help yourself, dear. Father Roache won't mind lending it. Just be sure to put it back when you're finished.
Of course, thank you.
It is more blessed to give than to receive.
In memory of Percival Roache. In memory of Peter Black.
Mhm. Ciekawe, co to za ludzie.
In memory of George Paxton. In memory of William Ager. In memory of Barnaby Tillett.
Tyle, już to nazwisko się pojawiło.
In memory of Mabel Hurst. In memory of Percival Roache. In memory of Benjamin Garkham. In memory of Romeo Hegg, dearly missed by his beloved Juliet.
A,
In memory of
proszę, Romeo opłakiwany przez Julię.
In memory of Millicent Smith. In memory of Henry Crozier.
Crozier to rodzina Kowala.
Unfortunately, I don't think the cakes are free. Hello.
Good day. Would you like to buy one of these cakes, pet?
No, niestety nie mamy pieniędzy w tej chwili.
What kind of cakes do you have?
I have some lovely Bakewell puddings, the sweetest marriage of almond and jam. I can tell you're not from around here, because if you were, you would know about my Bakewell puddings. They are quite famous.
Alas, I'm not carrying any money with me.
That's unfortunate, pet. I'm sorry, I can't give them away for free. The money goes to the church, you see, and one cannot shirk one's duty to the church.
I understand. My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Mrs. de Plancy.
A pleasure to meet you, Mrs. de Plancy.
Likewise, pet.
Pet, to znaczy kochaniutka, tak? To mi się tak kojarzy, jakby nazywała nas jakimś zwierzątkiem domowym.
Tell me about yourself, Mrs. de Plancy.
About me? What would you possibly want to know about me? I've been attending St. Edmund's Church my whole life. I always want to help where I can, so I sell my baked goods and all the proceeds go to its upkeep. This place means so much to me.
Your cakes look delicious.
I can assure you they are. You'll not find better in the entire county.
What can you tell me about St. Edmund's Church?
Isn't it the finest building? It's been standing here since the 12th century. The box pews in the nave are very fine and date back to the 17th century. The door is open if you'd like to worship.
Thank you, Mrs. de Plancy. Do you know a local man called Leonard Shoulder?
Yes, I know Leonard. What business do you have with him?
It's a long story, but I'm trying to find where he lives.
I'm afraid I don't know, dear. Father Roache has access to the parish register. He might be able to help you.
What can you tell me about Father Roache?
He is a lovely man and an exemplary servant of the Lord. He's been the vicar of St. Edmund's for many years.
Where can I find Father Roache?
At this time of day, he'll be taking his exercise in Herne Wood, to the west of the village.
Thank you. I'll go find him.
Be sure to listen out for his merry whistling. Such a jolly man.
Dobrze, czyli ojciec Roache może mieć te rejestry parafialne, które nam powiedzą, gdzie mieszka Leonard Sholder.
What do you know of Hob's Barrow?
Hobbs what?
Hob's Barrow, a local burial mound.
The only place of burial I know about and care for is in this very churchyard.
Thank you for your time.
Lord be with you.
Goodness me, look at these box pews. I've never seen any as tall as that before. Most unusual architecture, even for the Normans. The pews are contained within compartments that can be locked. I've seen a similar design in other Norman churches around England, but this is a particularly impressive example.
No, widać, że kościół ma trochę miejsc, pewnie pomieści wszystkich lokalnych mieszkańców. Ciekaw jestem, ilu mieszkańców liczy Bewley, czy to jest kilkuset? No, na to bym stawiał, że może mieć kilkuset mieszkańców.
Is that a necklace? Someone has left a necklace hanging here. A silver cross. Sterling by the look of it. Maybe I can reunite it with its owner.
No i co jeszcze ciekawego, jakieś witrażowe okno.
Stained glass depictions of various biblical scenes. It's not my specialist area. This must be where the local vicar sacrifices the newborns.
No i chyba tyle ciekawego. Pójdziemy poszukać ojca Roache.
It's locked.
Którędy mógł iść? Dzieci!
This young fellow looks miserable. She has a puckish little face. Hello there, my name's Thomasina.
Yeah?
How are you?
Go away!
O, niegrzeczny.
Do you know a man called Leonard Sholder?
No,
Have you heard of a place called Hob's Barrow?
no.
Goodbye.
Wiele się dowiedzieliśmy.
Good day, little one. What's your name?
Hello, miss. I'm Jane and this is my brother Wally.
Lovely to meet you. I'm Thomasina.
I'd introduce you to my dolls, but they're drying out at the moment.
No, ona jest już chyba grzeczna.
This is a lovely little beck.
It's where we get our water, miss. It's good for drinking and cleaning.
Your dolls look lovely, Jane.
Thank you, miss. I love them very much. Today was their bath day.
Wally doesn't say much.
He's mardy with me because he's bored, miss. He thinks he's too old to play with dolls.
I see. Where are your parents?
They are picking apples from the big tree in our yard. Daddy and I sell them at the market.
That sounds nice.
But they don't mind us playing at the beck, as long as we don't touch the Ammon's horn.
What is the Ammon's horn?
It's over there on that rock.
Do you mean the fossil?
It's the Ammon's horn. Daddy said we should never touch it. It will make the god angry.
What god?
Ammon, of course.
Czyli kolejne przesądy.
How wonderful. I'll be sure not to touch it. I wouldn't want to anger the gods.
Sensible.
Do Do you know an old man called Leonard Shoulder?
No, miss.
Have you heard of a place called Hobb's Barrow?
Jane!
No, miss.
Are you sure?
I swear.
Goodbye.
Bye, miss.
To było słyszałeś, to też dla tłumaczy ewentualnie, zamiast słyszałaś. Wygląda na to, że powinna coś wiedzieć na temat kurhanu Hoba, bo on ją ostrzegł, żeby nic nie mówiła. Także pewnie wszyscy mają jakieś informacje na ten temat, ale nikt nie chce mówić.
Remarkable. A gargantuan fossilized ammonite. This would look fantastic on my mantelpiece.
Hey! Stay away from that!
Don't touch it!
It's bad luck to touch the Ammon's horn. I'm serious.
Fine.
No dobra, dotkniemy jak ich nie będzie, nie?
Damp ragdolls have been laid out to dry in the dreary sun. They aren't mine to take. Sweet little flowers. The delicate flowers smell rather sweet.
Wzięliśmy do ekwipunku, czy nie? Coś tutaj się ekwipunek nie chce otworzyć. Chyba jest chory.
Very sorry. Oh, the shame. This malaise will not pass. Oh, the nausea. I need your help, young lady.
Tell me what you need.
Let the blood from my arm.
Excuse me?
Cut me. I beg you.
Czyżby to miało pomóc?
Are you sure this is the only way, Father?
I beg you. It's the only cure for this torturous malady.
I don't wish to look too closely. I'm not going near it. It smells disgusting. The vicar's spectacles lie broken on the forest floor. Ouch! The broken lens is extremely sharp.
No dobrze. Co jest z tym naszym ekwipunkiem? Dlaczego on się nie wyświetla? Powinien się wyświetlać chyba, nie? No to dziwne, bo był na górze ekranu przecież. Dobra, no wczytam. Coś tu nie gra. Uruchomię grę ponownie, także czekajcie. Tak, jestem z powrotem. Teraz ekwipunek już się otwiera. Nie wiem, jakiś błąd gry prawdopodobnie. Czy rękawiczką może podniesiemy?
Risk soiling this glove until I find its owner.
No to chusteczką.
This handkerchief was a gift from my mother. I hope she will understand. This should work. Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yes, it will cure me of my ills.
I shall do as you ask, Father.
Thank the Lord for my spare pair. God bless you. I already feel quite better.
I'm glad, Father.
The rapid healing properties of bloodletting cannot be overstated. I'm Frederick Roache, vicar of St. Edmund's Church.
My name is Thomasina Bateman. It's a pleasure to meet you.
No, dziwne, ale podziałało.
Are you feeling better?
Yes, thank you.
What ails you, Father Roache?
I just ate a rotten berry, that's all. I like to pick blackberries for my supper, you see. They are quite delicious, as long as you mind the bramble. My apologies again. I wish we had met in different circumstances.
Mam wrażenie, że nie był z nami szczery, jeśli chodzi o tę jeżynę, bo doskonale wiedział, co mu dolega i co zrobić, żeby przestał się źle czuć.
Are you from Bewley originally?
I was born in our very own St. Edmunds. It's quite the story.
Do tell.
My mother was sheltering there as a frightful tempest raged. And lo, did her waters break right there and then in that pew.
One could say that you were born into your role, Father.
Indeed. When my mother told me the story as a young boy, I knew that this was my calling.
St. Edmund's is a fine building.
Thank you for saying so. It's hard work keeping her in good shape, but our congregation is always willing to lend a hand in the Lord's name.
What is it like being the vicar here?
Every day is a blessing, my child. I have a great love for our parish, and the Lord looks after us.
What about your congregation?
Numbers have fallen over the years, I must say. But those that remain are faithful and full of his spirit.
I'm looking for Mr. Leonard Shoulder.
Oh, yes? Are you a relative?
No, it's a long story, but he invited me to Bewley.
And he didn't tell you his address?
He was to meet me last night at the Plough and Furrow, but he never came.
I see. Well, let me welcome you to Bewley on his behalf.
Thank you, Father. Do you know where Mr. Shoulder lives?
Let me think. It's been many moons since I've paid him a visit.
Perhaps you could allow me to take a look at the parish register.
No need. I remember it now. A fair hike across the moors.
Could you please give me directions?
I'll take you there myself. It's the least I can do after you aided me so.
Capital. Thank you.
Just let me know when you're ready to pay him a visit. I'll be resting here for the time being.
Jeszcze porozmawiamy najpierw o innych rzeczach.
What do you know of Hobb's Barrow?
I can't say I've heard of it.
It's supposedly a famous local landmark.
I'm afraid I know nothing about it.
Jakoś wątpię.
What can you tell me about Bewley?
It's a quiet town. The railway line, which I presume you arrived by, is the only news of note we've had here for years.
I've heard the new station has received a mixed reaction.
I've heard many a debate, it's true. But my role is not to adjudicate on that matter. I'm very busy in my own work, you see.
No właśnie, przynajmniej ten dzień jest trochę odświeżający po poprzednim, bo spotkaliśmy kilka osób, które powiedzmy zachowują się bardziej neutralnie w stosunku do nas. Kowal, tutaj ksiądz, ta pani przed kościołem sprzedająca swoje wypieki.
I'm ready to go to Mr. Shoulder's house.
Excellent. I feel the fresh air will do me well. Follow me.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Mrs. Duplancy. Mrs. Duplancy, this is Thomasina Bateman, a visitor to our parish.
We've already had the pleasure of meeting, Father.
Excellent. Miss Bateman, don't hesitate to try one of Mrs. Duplancy's wonderful cakes.
Yes, I've heard about her famous Bakewell puddings.
I'll be here all day, young lady. But remember, once they're gone, they're gone. Those little whelps have already gobbled up all the gingerbread.
You are doing God's work, Mrs. Duplancy.
He smiles upon us, Father.
Miss Bateman, if you'd like to follow me. Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes, write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills.
Shakespeare?
Quite. Which play?
No i tutaj mała zagadka dla nas. Król Ryszard II.
Richard II?
Correct. You are well read, Miss Bateman. Studying the work of the bard is one of my favorite pastimes. Follow me. Behold, the vast expanse of God's creation. The moors extend as far as the mortal eye can see. Beautiful, is it not?
Taki bezkres. Nic więcej, tylko wrzosowiska, no i tam coś w oddali majaczy.
I find them rather desolate.
Really? I disagree. The beauty of God's creation is that it takes so many forms. How can one take in such a view and not have faith? Some look at these moors and think this a godless land. But I tell you, he is found in all domains. The Lord's work is all about us. Tell me, Miss Bateman, do you believe in God?
Powiedz prawdę albo skłam, czyli tutaj gra nam sugeruje, że powiedzenie prawdy to jest stwierdzenie, że bohaterki, że nie wierzy w Boga, a skłamanie, że wierzy. Więc powiedzmy prawdę, no. Po co ma kłamać?
I was brought up Anglican. The church was an important part of my early life, Father Roache. But what happened to my father eventually made me question things.
If you don't mind me asking, my child, what happened to your father?
He had an accident when I was very young.
Come along now, Thomasina. Let's get out of the rain.
Mamy retrospekcję.
Remember what I told you, all right? Be a good girl. People are unwell here. They don't want to hear you running about making noise. Understood?
Yes, Mother.
Good. And don't annoy the nurses.
I promise I won't.
Good. Now, let's see your father.
Mummy is crying. Daddy is sleeping. Daddy, wake up! Mummy? Mummy?
Good evening, Mr. Bateman. Hello, little one. You must be Thomasina?
Yes.
My name is Nurse Blaketon. I just need to talk to your mummy for a little bit. I'm sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Bateman. Mrs. Bateman?
Will he ever talk again, Nurse Blaketon?
The doctor is uncertain, Mrs. Bateman. There is the possibility that Mr. Bateman won't regain any movement at all. But we will do our utmost to look after Mr. Bateman here at Ticehurst, ma'am. He will have a nurse by his side at all times, I can assure you.
What sort of God would allow this fate to befall such a kind and honest man?
I'm sorry to hear this. God moves in mysterious ways, but he loves us all. Come along now.
Hello. She scampered off in a hurry. Who was that?
Some primitive folk make their home out on the moors. I suggest you keep your wits about you when you are exploring, and don't stray too far from Bewley.
I see. How much farther to Mr. Shoulder's house?
Still quite a walk, I'm afraid, but we'll get to him soon enough. Now then, take a look at this. Legend has it that this cairn has stood here for over 1,000 years.
How remarkable.
The Devil's Toe.
I beg your pardon?
That's what it's called. The Devil's Toe.
Oh, I see.
Come now, onward.
We walked and walked across that vast, featureless landscape. All the while, Father Roache was whistling away merrily. Just as I had begun to wonder if we were hopelessly lost, a building emerged from the mist. Mr. Shoulder's cottage.
Here we are, Miss Bateman. Unless my memory fails me completely, this is Mr. Leonard Shoulder's house.
Thank you for your help, Father Roache.
Now, no need to thank me after your providential assistance today. However, I have something to ask you.
Yes?
Please don't tell Mrs. de Plancy about my little scene in the woods. She will only fret, and the poor dear woman has enough on her mind as it is.
I shan't mention it.
Thank you. You'd better see if Mr. Shoulder is in.
Tutaj już dla tłumaczy informacja między już a dość była kropka.
Father Roache still looks rather pallid. A carved stone has been affixed to the door. I think it depicts a crescent moon. Father, what do you make of this?
A peculiar adornment. I've not seen any like this in Bewley, though it does remind me of a passage by the bard himself. It is the very error of the moon. She comes nearer earth than she was wont, and makes men mad.
Othello?
Othello?
Precisely, Miss Bateman. Your knowledge of the bard is presently flawless.
I consider myself to be well-read, Father Roache.
It's delightful to meet a fellow bookworm, I must say.
No, ostatnio zdecydowanie za mało czytam. Ciężko pogodzić wszystko.
Mr. Shoulder? Is Thomasina Bateman here? I'm here in Bewley as discussed.
Maybe try again. His hearing probably isn't the best at his age.
Mr. Shoulder, are you home? It appears Mr. Shoulder is not at home. Curses.
Perhaps you could try the handle?
It's locked.
Albo go nie ma, albo chce, żebyśmy myśleli, że go nie było. Jeszcze nas niedawno zapraszał, a teraz się nie stawia na spotkanie. Chyba że coś mu się stało.
No sign of life?
None. The window is nice and clean. The dwelling is by no means abandoned. No sign of any movement. A fearsome-looking beast. He looks much too unruly to be picked up.
No, koguty potrafią być agresywne w stosunku do ludzi.
Sweet little hen, plump and well-groomed. Here, chuk chuk chuk.
Don't encourage them.
Mr. Shoulder has stacked blocks of wood neatly beneath this small lean-to.
Very neat and tidy.
I've no desire to lug a block of wood about the countryside. This must provide a charming view across the moor. The window is much too high up to reach. A pair of thick woolen trousers. The trousers feel damp, freshly hung, or still wet from last night's rain.
No właśnie, padało, więc to jeszcze nie rozstrzyga tego, że dopiero co prał.
A woolen undergarment. Slightly damp.
I have a similar one myself. So very warm.
That glove looks familiar. I wonder if it matches the glove I found behind the plough and furrow. That glove...
Sprawdzimy to.
The gloves are a pair. Does this mean Mr. Shoulder was in the alley last night? Why didn't he come inside to see me?
Perhaps he's gone for a stroll.
Possibly.
I'd suggest you call back later, my child. I myself must make my way back home. I have some matters to attend to at the church. Shall I accompany you back to Bewley?
Myślę, że pójdziemy.
Let's go.
As I say, my child, Mr. Shoulder will make himself known. Do not lose faith.
I'm rather frustrated by this situation.
Now. Things move at a slower pace out here. Something you may not be so accustomed to. Come now, Miss Bateman.
Również narracja w samej grze jest dość powolna.
Mr. Shoulder, you've brought me to Bewley, and now you're nowhere to be found. As we trudged silently back to Bewley across those cold moors, I made a new resolution. I would find Hob's Barrow myself, with or without Mr. Shoulder. The train! That must be Kenneth.
Kenneth?
My assistant.
I see. Well, Miss Bateman, I really must attend to some other matters. I hope Mr. Shoulder finds his way to you.
Thank you for your help, Father Roache.
My pleasure. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Romeo i Julia.
Romeo and Juliet.
Correct. That I shall say good night, till it be morrow. You've proven yourself to be an impeccable scholar of the bard, my child. Lord be with you.
I should go meet Kenneth at the station.
No dobrze, to już zrobimy w kolejnym odcinku. Dowiedzieliśmy się, że był przy tej gospodzie Leonard Shoulder, ale nie wszedł, żeby się z nami zobaczyć. Co więcej, kiedy my wyszliśmy, on jakby przed nami uciekał. Pośpiesznie się oddalił. Tak jak w sołtysie, tak? Spiesznie się oddalił. Tak czy inaczej, to tyle w tym odcinku. Dziękuję serdecznie za uwagę, trzymajcie się i do zobaczenia, do usłyszenia w kolejnym. Pa, pa.